Okay, good afternoon. I'm going to do a little review on the Venus SW6B. Fast becoming my favourite go-to radio. So it's 6-band. So you can go for the 80, 60, 40, 40, 20, 17 and 15 metres. I went for the 80, 40, 30, 20 metres, 17 and 15. 17 and 15 are on the same switch on number 5 position. Very nice to use. I measured the output on this one into a dummy load at about 4 watts, just under 4 watts, which is perfect, really, for QRP operation. You know where you are, and there's no messing around with, you know, setting power levels and stuff. It's 4 watts. But if you put it into the let me switch on. If you put it into the, so there's this top switch is operations or tune. Put it in the tune position. The manual does say that you can run it in the tune position. It gives you 1 watt or just under 1 watt. If you've got a high SWR, it will glow. The brighter it is, the higher the SWR, and if it's a perfect match or thereabouts, it doesn't light. This one has got the internal batteries. That's 3 18650s. Very low power consumption. I went out for about 3 hours, and I was calling and chatting for a lot of that, and there was no issues with the power on the internal batteries. They did last. I was quite surprised. But you've also got the option of 10 to 14 volts, a little battery pack that you could take. I think, well, according to the manual, the receive draws about between 70 and 100 milliamp, depending on whether you're using the speaker or headphones on that, and that's switchable. And the CW filter is 400 Hertz. If I'd have had a choice, I would have gone for a 300 Hertz filter, especially in these sometimes noisy band conditions. But 400 Hertz is a good compromise. It was certainly better than the Yaesu 818. And it's got a 2 kilohertz for if you want to listen to SSB. Not too sure why you would want to do that. It's a CW rig, CW transceiver, so you know, it's quite specific. Right off the bat, I will say that the QSK on this, it reminds me, that's the audio again, it reminds me so much of the Tentex. Just smooth, from a CW op point of view, just, yeah, great, brilliant. And as I say, it just reminds me so much of Ten-Tec transceivers, which were all designed for CW operation. SSB was an optional extra, if you like. Much better than my Yaesu's, ICOMs, my Zygu transceivers. Just, this is smooth. No clicking relays, you know, no big dropouts. It's just silky smooth QSK. And it's just one of those transceivers. It's very simple, but functional. And very, you know, practical when you're out and about. So you've got, as I said, you put it into the op position and you're on. You know, you've got 4 watts speaker. You've got the audio gain, rotary switch, RF gain, rotary switch, speed gain, or speed, BCW, rotary switch, dead easy, power on and off. You've got a charge for the internal batteries, as I said, 3 18650s, and you've got a DC, so 10 to 14 volts. The bands in the 5 position is 15 and 17 meters. Then you got 20 meters. I've got 30 on this one. I do like 30 meters. It is one of those bands. Obviously, propagation is a mixture of 40 and 20, so you can get a little bit of DX on it occasionally, but it's great just for chatting. I do like 30 meters, and of course 40 meters. If you have the standard, if you like, so you wouldn't have 30 meters, you would have 60 meters in that. But 60 meters for me is it's not a band. I've been on a couple of times, but I've never been overly impressed with it. It's cumbersome with the antennas and that. So memory wise, it's got a memory function. I never put a dummy load. I'll stick a dummy load on. Let me have a look. Again, not like being prepared, is there? So I'll put a dummy load on. Bear with me. So I put the dummy load 50 ohm, and if I put it into the tune position, you should see that this LED won't light because it's a 50 ohm match. So the memories are not too large, but large enough to hold a secure call, a ×2. So, but if you go for a ×3, which is my sort of standard call, then there's not enough room in there. So you can press the memory. And it's obviously good enough to hold that a ×2. I mean, you could trim it if you wanted to, but, you know, what's the point? That's good enough. So let me just... so you got the RIT function on there, where you can, obviously on the receive, just trim them up. You know what QRPs are like with their transceivers. Some are homebrew, some are very old, and they're not quite on the frequency, or they drift a little bit. It's nice to have just a quick button, RIT, done. You can save each frequency has a memory, so you can save this in there, and you've also got the VFO in there as well, memory or VFO, or go to the memory function, and choosing the memory function is just as easy as that. Or VFO, and then when obviously you're on frequencies, you tap the encoder and change this. There's a little chevron that jumps above the digits, so you can tap that and change them, and that's pretty much it. It's very it's a simple transceiver and very practical, and for taking out, I got one in the metal case, but they do a plastic case version, but the metal, I thought I'd give it a little bit more protection, and as I say, I used it all afternoon. No issues at all. It was flawless, and everything's there at the touch of a button, or you know, the rotary switch. Very easy. You could use a straight key or paddle. If you have a straight key, plug it in, key it down and switch on, and then it'll recognize a straight key. Paddles, you just plug in and switch on, and it's most enjoyable. The most fun I've had out portable with any transceiver since, I'm just trying to think, the Index Labs QRP plus, I think it was in the mid-90s, maybe early 2000s. It was the one that had it was a three-legged. It was with the leg at the front, and that was just a cube, and I really enjoyed that. That had great QSK on it. You know, the X6100, the Zygoos, they're great. I think there's too much in them. There's too much to go wrong, you know, with the firmware, and I mean, they are very good portable radios, but they can be overcomplicated. The way that it does certain things, like, you know, memories and stuff like that, it just does my treeing. And it's just these little things that sort of annoy you about a transceiver when you're out. I mean, what could go wrong? Well, I mean, there's loads that can go wrong, but I mean, from a user point of view, there's very little that can go wrong with this. You're not going to, you're not going into any menus. You're not digging into anything. You're there to do an a portable operation, and it just does the job. It's simple, straightforward, and just an absolute joy to use. And I can't stress this enough. An absolute joy to use. It's been 20 years, 25 years or more since I've enjoyed using a transceiver as much. All modern transceivers or semi-modern transceivers do a job. They're designed to do a job, and they do it very well. Some are more complicated than others, but every now and again something comes along that just makes simple. It's just simple. The Venus SW6B, I quite like that one as well. I have a 3B, and you know, that's nice to use. There's certain aspects I don't like about that, and that was just setting the speed. You know what it's like when you're having QSOs and people are calling you, and there's a slower operator and there's a faster operator, and you know, and someone in between. So it's just nice to, obviously you want to match the speed as best you can, and it's just nice and simple to you know, set your speed without pressing buttons mid QSO and trying to. I've had myself with the 3B. I've had myself in a bit of a tiz, you know, mid QSO trying to sort stuff. But this, simple, it's how it should be. If you want a QRP HF radio and you have a CW up for portable, I mean, you could run it mobile and just put it in your bag and take it with you. Perfect. This is just perfect. My only other gripe was I had to pay customs and VAT to get it to get it in the country. Obviously, I bought the transceiver from Venus, and you pay your postage and packing and shipping and stuff like that, and it comes to X amount, and then you get an email or a phone call to say, well, actually, you need to pay X amount because it's customs and VAT but that's in the UK, so that's just only applies to us, I think. Yeah. But once you get past that, brilliant. Every time I go out now, portable, I'm taking this transceiver. I have others, but I'm taking this. This is going to be my main portable transceiver. That's how much I like it. That's how much I like the QSK functionality of this transceiver. It's a CW ops radio. I'm not bothered about SSB. I'm not bothered about all these other functions. They don't really interest me. When I go out portable, I go CW only. What could be simpler? Anyways, there we go. That's my little review of the Venus SW6B. Check them out on the website. They'll tell you all about it. And if you're in the UK and you decide to get one, bear in mind VAT and stuff when you get into the country, when it gets into the country. Took about Let me see. I think it was about a month. About 4, yeah, maybe either just over 4 weeks or just under 4 weeks to arrive. And it got me in a bit of a tiz, to be honest, over this customs thing. I had to send them my, the bill of sale and describe what it was, and then pay the import duty. So anyway, 7.3s. All the best. If you're stateside or anything like that, then it's probably a lot easier. I would say most of Europe is probably a lot easier. But the UK, well, we pay for everything in the UK. 7.3s, all the best, and we'll catch up soon.